Hey, Bikeaholics and listeners alike, the show is still going strong because of a lot of hard work and your support, of course. Thanks to all those loyal listeners and true friends of the show that have supported us or are supporting us. For less than a coffee a month, you can help support us too and put a little fuel in the law-abiding biker gas tank to make sure this show keeps moving on down the road. So, calling all law-abiding bikers, head over to our Patreon page and take action today. You can do so at lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. Oh, did I mention there's benefits too? From all your friends at lawabidingbiker.com, we appreciate each and every one of you. God bless and ride safe. And now, straight from the Law Abiding Biker Media Studio,
out of sunny Yakima, Washington,
we bring you another episode of the
#1 listen to motorcycle podcast.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
Rocket Jakey.
Oh, yeah.
That is right. Welcome back, you freaking bikeaholics. This is the podcast for the Big MM, the motorcycle majority, also known as the
99%.
Sweet. That's right. By simply listening to this podcast, you are part of what we call the biker revolution. That's right. No better time now to join that revolution, guys. I do know that we have one simple question before we get started. Do you know what that question is, Jakey?
I do. What are you waiting for, bikeaholics? Mount up. Let us take you on another wild-ass ride.
Oh, my
Well done, Jakey.
God. Nailed it. Ready? Ready?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hitting hard. That's right, guys. Welcome back. Ryan Erlacher here, your host of the Law Abiding Biker Podcast, and of course, your
high-tech redneck.
The man, the myth, the legend, the one and only. Lurch. Did that stop and you just extended it?
Man, you killed it.
Did that stop?
It did.
Did it? Let me try it again. Hang on. No, you just extended it, dude.
Oh.
Lurch, of course, Jake Justice, occupying a seat over there on the law-abiding biker sofa. Stained and soiled sofa over there. Not going to tell you what kind of soil is on there.
Buddy's dog nuts.
Well,
he's been over here rubbing himself all over.
That's part of it. I'm not going to lie to you.
Stinking it up, claiming it for his own.
Oh, man. All right, so guys, we got an awesome episode, of course, for you. And today's main subject is going to be, Inside. It was a special. It was Inside the Mongols Nation. It was a Lisa Ling CNN special. And all right, guys, so preface real quick for the episode. We've done this in the past. Of course, we talk about everything biker here at Law Abiding Biker Media. And of course, everything from, mechanical stuff to the biker culture, to what's going on, to news, current events, equipment, reviews, all that kind of stuff. So in no way do we support criminal biker lifestyle here at Law Abiding Biker Media. We're not glorifying. We're not giving credit. We're not doing any of that stuff. This was simply and Lurch can vouch for this. This was simply, we try to give you guys the content that you want, and everybody likes a little something different, which is why we stay very diverse here, which is why I think we're very, very popular motorcycle podcast. We kind of cover everything. But we had actually received quite a few emails and Facebook and all kinds of stuff. And everybody kept sending us this link to this show. Lurch, am I feeding the audience full of shit?
100%. What?
Am I feeding the audience full of shit, or am I being...
Oh, no. You're being 100% honest. We got lots of links and requests for us to talk about this particular TV show.
So, by us talking about Inside the Mongols Nation, in no way are we supporting any, 1%er type criminal activity stuff. We also are very fair here, and we're not going to, just make up and talk bad about anything we can. We're actually going to review this particular episode. It is part of biking culture, whether you want to or not. And there's a lot of news recently with the Texas shooting down there, the biker shootout. And so it's in the news. It's in the forefront. People want to know about it. People come to us to learn about it. We have a lot of insight, I should say, into it, with our backgrounds and experience in the motorcycle culture And so we're going to talk fairly openly. And again, in no way are we giving credit, nor are we, just for the purpose of talking bad about that segment of bikers. We're not going to do that either. There are some bad things we have to say, some good things we have to say. So we keep it real. We keep it fair. We keep it balanced here. Ain't that right, Jakey?
Oh, yeah. Balanced.
Nice job. Good work, sir.
Oh my God.
Did you catch him napping?
We're just going to start it out right, dude.
God, you're fucking dumb, dude.
Sorry, Jake. Jake's going to hate me, dude.
We were talking about that at dinner. We're like, probably one of the smartest guys we got in the group, and he got stuck with that.
He did.
And Big Daddy loves it when you do that to me.
Every time I do it, when
he'll
he's sitting on
text
the
me every time
sofa,
he'll see it.
he busts a nut, dude, whenever I play that, dude. That's hilarious.
The guy that was a teacher before he became a law enforcement officer, and he gets stuck with that little clip.
A lot of people don't know that about Jake Justice. A guy that has this song was a teacher.
Jim,
yeah.
And now he's a
physical education teacher. I mean,
right.
Come on.
And then he
agriculture education.
he got convicted as an RSO and did some inappropriate things in the school, and now he's a cop. No,
they missed that on my background.
No, it's that we're teasing. Jakey did not get. He actually, which is why he must hang out with us, because he's partially insane for becoming an LEO from being a teacher, dude.
Yeah, a guy told me once I gave up the pen for the sword.
Yeah,
I was like, well, maybe.
Yeah, true that. True that.
Sword's cooler than a pen.
You're darn right.
Damn Skippy. All right, so let's a little bit of business before we dive into that, and we are going to break that down for you guys. We've got some opinions and things about that episode, and I want to thank real quick publicly to Jack Gramling of Hartford, Vermont. So you guys know we sell the biker grippers. Just head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store. They are the sexiest, the sleekest, the strongest cell phone motorcycle mount on the market, guys. That's right. We tried and tested them, liked them so much, we've stamped it with our very own logo, our stamp of approval for you guys. And thus we brought them to the Law Abiding Biker store, selling like hotcakes. We want you to get your hands on it. This was a biker gripper incident, which doesn't happen. And like every once in a while, something can just weird fluke. And Jack Gramling, supporter of the show, listener, and bought a biker gripper, and the plastic nut on the back for some reason cracked. Must have had just, one out of thousands of.
He had a busted nut.
Yeah, busted straight up, dude. Well said. Well said. One for Lurch. And he did have a busted nut, and I didn't know how to help him with his busted nut other than get him a new nut that wasn't busted. And so it was just that plastic nut that goes on the back.
Sure.
Somehow it got a little hairline fracture in it. And in true law-abiding biker style, because we are here to help bikers, and as we grow, we want to continue to make sure we keep it real and down to earth with everybody out there. And so I, without hesitation, emailed him and said, no problem. I will bust open a package of a brand new biker gripper. I will get that nut out. I will have my wife, who handles all shipping, send that immediately. Did
she handle his nut?
She did.
Okay.
She stroked the nut before she sent it. And I don't know what else she did to the nut, but wished it could have been mine. But she sent it out to him, and anyways, he was pretty impressed with that, because you don't get that kind of service, right, from a lot of companies. That I was willing to break open a package. I've since ordered extra just in case that were to happen again, but it hasn't.
Idea.
One out of tons that we've sold. So it's just a fluke kind of deal. But he was so happy. All of a sudden, he didn't say anything, and I emailed him. He said, thanks for the nut. And I said, you're welcome. We handled the nut with care, sent it to him, and he all of a sudden, I go to the P.O. box. No, it wasn't the P.O. box. It actually showed up here at the studio, and it was a bottle, and I'm looking at the note, and he wrote handwritten letter from this Jack Gramling, and he says he was so appreciative. He sent me some genuine, he's from Vermont, some genuine Vermont maple syrup, dude. And it was awesome. And the kids have been eating it. I've been eating it. It was a very personal thing, but he said on that letter, and I say refer to the letter, don't I, Lurch?
You do say that.
On the note, I say refer to the letter.
As we were...
and I don't have the damn letter in front of me, dude. And I'm looking around. I'm swiveling side to side. I'm swiveling right. I'm swiveling left. And I've been so busy.
You must have put it in a really safe place.
Dude, that sucks that I can't. But I can give you the gist of it. But anyways, they actually it's quite a process of how many trees they get that Vermont maple syrup from and how many trees it takes. And he kind of gave me a little history on that. And I was like, wow,
that's real cool.
And it's freaking good, dude. It's like the real
Now
deal.
I know when we were going down to make lunch today and I was pilfering your fridge that there was a bunch of pancakes in there.
Oh yeah. You
guys
know.
Yeah. Well, you didn't tell me you had this.
I didn't. I was keeping it to myself,
You're
dude.
hoarding your Vermont maple syrup.
Damn right, dude.
What a dick.
And that's the kind of, and honestly, Jack, I'm sorry. I had your letter up here ready to go and we have been so busy that I'm not going to. Oh, hey.
Did you find it?
Oh, what do I got down here? Look at
it right in the open.
It is, dude. Go. It was right down here by the, my wife has a bunch of biker gripper notes when she's shipping and stuff. We got a lot of stuff going on here at Lab Media, dude. I can't believe we can even get a podcast done. We're so busy right now that I can keep track of show notes. But here you go. So he says, hey, Ryan, thank you so much for breaking apart a kit so I could replace the broken one. He doesn't say nut. He just says one. Hopefully you can get another. If not, let me know. And I could, this is the kind of people we work with. I can purchase a whole nother biker gripper. I'm like, no, you're not doing that, man. Please find and enclose a small token of my appreciation for what you did. Exclamation point, exclamation point. Exclamation point. There you go. 3 of them. If you are interested in the process in which the syrup is made, you can Google Vermont maple syrup. The sap in which it is made comes from our rock maple trees in the spring. Trees about 35 to 50 gallons of syrup
per tree
to make 1 gallon.
Oh.
So about 35 to 50 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of syrup.
That's a lot of sap.
Crazy, dude.
Wow.
Depending on the sugar content, he says. Make sure and refrigerate after opening. Thanks again, Jack Gramley. I'm glad I found that letter. That was on the fly too. I really didn't know where it was. You saw me looking around. Yeah. I was like, damn, I felt lost. But I wanted to read that. So that's the kind of community that we have here. And we played some other voicemails and just people really, really involved. And I love making those connections, and that shows up and it puts a little smile on your face. And I'm not kidding you, dude. It's freaking good. You don't get maple syrup like that in the stores here, dude. I'll just be quite honest with you. Do you want to try some?
Yeah.
We could bring it up in the studio and we could all lick it, right? Just dip our finger in it. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah. I'm afraid that could lead down a bad road eventually, but yeah.
Add some more soil to that couch. I'll tell you that right now. Oh my God. But anyways, all right. And talking about the involved community we have, very, very involved. Who's our most involved people, Lurch?
Our most involved people are our patrons. Let me say that correctly. Our patrons over on Patreon. And we would like to thank 3 of them. These guys, their monthly contributions to Law Abiding Biker, as I would like to say, puts gas in the tank.
A little fuel.
And thank you. Puts a little fuel. Same thing. Puts a little fuel in the Law Abiding Biker tank and keeps the motor running on down the road. Also keeps the app running so that if you're listening to this on the app, you can thank a patron. And we would like to thank 3 right now. First one is Chris Watson of Tampa, Florida. He's a top tier patron. Thank you, Chris. Don Malcolm of Auckland, New Zealand. Shout out New Zealand.
New Zealand in the house.
And Jeffrey Cagle of Phoenix, Arizona.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. We appreciate the support. It gives us a little bit of foundation, as Lurch would say, so we know what kind of services we can provide. Going into the future, it's growing quickly. Get involved. Take action. lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. That is right. You can pledge a certain amount per piece of content. No risk to you. No risk. You heard it. You can set a monthly cap. That's right. So you don't go over your budget, and we can continue to grow this thing. There are benefits depending on what level you pledge as. There's t-shirts and, of course, the infamous private Facebook group that is growing out of control and is super busy. Jake's been hanging out in there lately. What do you say about the private Facebook group and the patrons? Jake, you better have something for me.
Oh, I have something good. I mean, that private Facebook group is really growing. We've seen it growing a lot over the last few years, last couple years, actually. Not very long at all. It's been there to the point where when it first started, weren't too many people, and I guess Law Abiding Biker Crew was the one really giving answers. Now it's so big and so involved that the people that are part of the group are the ones giving answers a lot of times real early and giving a lot of expertise that even the Law Abiding Biker group sometimes don't have.
Very nice.
What were you doing? You hit them.
Jake.
I'm waiting for the I don't care.
Here we go.
I don't care.
You're right. We had to get at least one in just in case. Yeah, and well said, Jake. And again, everybody over there is kind of answering and getting to know each other on a personal level. You know, of course, there's pictures. Facebook is so much more personal than those forums. And I've talked about forums in the past. I'm not a fan at all. They're clunky. I don't like them. They're not personal. You don't know who Harley Man 213 is giving you advice over
I know
there.
that dude.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You don't know who's giving you advice over there. And again, that whole Facebook group is searchable just like a forum, but better. And that's why we use it. And so we've been asked about forums, haven't we, Matt? And I just, at this point, I think the private Facebook group does better. It's a better system. And,
Yeah, you can just go in there and search anything you want.
I had to.
Put handlebars in there, and it'll pull up every post, every conversation about handlebars.
Yes, EFI tuners, every post about EFI tuners, and all the advice was given, the whole thread and comments. It's cleaner. Everybody knows how to use Facebook, for the most part.
Those threads on those forums are hard to follow through.
Dude, it drives me nuts.
I'd rather go on Facebook and ask my friends a question and get feedback.
With an actual real name behind it, with pictures of who they are, that they're not just out on some forum being some, troll kind of deal. And
but you're, when you search it too, it's going to come up with all the links to your videos.
Correct.
Law-abiding biker videos and everything.
Any links that were in the post, any comments that were in the post, any pictures that were in the post. I mean, I actually have used it because a lot of people put story ideas or stuff for us that maybe we can cover. And in fact, this was one of them, I believe. And I've done that a couple times, and I know they're in my mind. And I just go back into this Facebook group and I searched. It was actually the helmet episode I did, Lurch. And I searched for, because a couple of guys had made posts on new helmets.
Which will be out.
Well, this will be after.
That's right. It'll already be out when you hear this.
That's correct.
Duh.
Which is why I'm referencing the helmet episode. Yeah. The nod, Lurch caught on there. Ding,
I'm
ding,
picking
ding.
up what you're putting down.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Lurch deserves one, dude.
God, you're fucking dumb, dude.
There, does that make you feel better, Jake?
Yeah, I'm not as left out.
That's from our William Crum episode, of course. So anyways, enough about that. Enough about the private Facebook group. But here we got. Do you want to talk about this? Do you know about this?
I do.
Why don't you talk about that? Matt here handles a ton of behind the scenes. And of course, that's all that patron funds that allow us to do this. He's traveling around the state right now for the paying job, but we finally got him hooked up with a laptop. And we've been working on that today. We're a little frustrated on a few little things, but we're trying to get him up and running so that he can, now that he's more mobile for his job, we need him connected because I'm so involved with video editing and the vlogging, and he's really taken over a lot of the social media and the audio. So he knows about this. And so that's, go ahead, Lurch.
Well, Dan Jaffers is a top tier patron. He's also
longtime supporter, gives flat donations all the time. I just can't say enough about his support. Really appreciate Dan. And recently he's got himself a bike that he wants to do a handlebars on. And so he asked for access to those. And as a top tier patron, he has access to all of our premium for sale videos. So he sent us an email. He told us what he wanted, and we created a code for him. Premium.
He created a code, or we created a code for him so that when he goes in to download the video, he gets it for free.
And he has a lifetime access.
Yep.
And we try to do that within 24 hours, which I did. I jumped on that. Normally I leave a lot of emails for you, but of course, Dan, I'm like, oh, Dan needs that. I'm jumping on it. Very involved in the private Facebook group.
Yes,
very involved in the chat room when we're live a lot of times. Obviously, we know what he does for a living, and so he's very busy. And so obviously he can't always be available live. But again, yes, well said, top tier patron. And I made that happen. We made that happen for him. And so upon request, he gets access to our, I love that, premium
for purchase
sounds so cool.
videos.
They are premium.
That's
I
right.
agree. What do you think about that, Jake?
Outstanding. I've used several of them, and it's definitely a great value.
Jakey has actually used our videos. All right, so we always like to mention we have just hordes of videos that I've put out that I haven't announced. I will tell you one thing, make sure head over to lawabidingbiker.com/email club, because I do email out when we come out with every single one of these new videos, but I also like to put it out on a podcast. But again, some of these have been out a long time. I will ask you guys, if you can, make sure you go over to the YouTube channel for us and just hit the subscribe button. You can choose your notifications, but we're getting big enough on the YouTube channel now that we're getting a lot of emails. And we're going to be very picky about how we grow and what we do. But a lot of people are knocking on our door now because of the amount of YouTube views. We have like 2.5 million, and I don't check very often, but we have a lot of subscribers. We're up to like, 13, 14, I haven't checked in a while, 14,000, something like that.
It's really snowballing. It just keeps growing and growing and growing.
It does. And so if you guys can do that for me, if you can't help it in any way, can you just go to the YouTube channel, lawabidingbiker.com /YouTube, and just hit that big red subscribe button. Even if you don't check in every day, that's fine. It shows that we're continuing to get subscribers. And obviously the more interest we can have and different ways to monetize, the more content and the better content we can bring to you. So really appreciate that. So anyways, back on track. This is a new free video. Do you want to talk about this video a little bit, Lurch, that we put out? And I will say that I have a list. Jake, you've seen this list before, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
And I don't even know where it went, but it's new free video for purchase and free videos to announce. Look at this list. Probably like 30 of them here. And so that's what we're doing, guys. And I know some of you are like, well, that one's been out. Well, it has, and everybody on the free email club got it right away. But there's a lot that just get it on the podcast. So that's why we're announcing. You want me to talk about this, or you want to talk about it, Lurch?
Oh, well, I'll talk about it. I'll give you a moment to catch your breath and wet your whistle.
Oh, is my mouth getting dry?
A little bit. So new free video we pumped out here recently is
makes my lips tingle.
Kuryakin Phase 7 LED comparison video. Not only do we show you how to take out your old one, we show you how to put in your new one. And then Ryan, in true fashion, did a side-by-side comparison, and you get to see via his GoPro and all his fancy setup on his Schuberth helmet. And now he's talking off.
Go ahead. I'm vlogging.
Oh.
I'm vlogging while we're recording a podcast.
I was like, come on there.
You go ahead.
Host, aren't you supposed to talk into the microphone? If you can hear him in the background, maybe you can't, but he's talking to his phone. Anyways, going back to the video, we show you how to put in your new one, take out your old one, and we do a side-by-side comparison, not just like sitting in the parking lot. Ryan does it going down the road, so it's really eye-opening how much brighter that LED headlight is compared to the stock one.
True. Not only was I listening with one earphone, I'm running 4 computers right here, or 2 computers, 2 monitors. I'm running a mixer, all that board. I'm vlogging because I got to put this vlog together. I wanted people inside look at the studio, and I still heard what you said.
And all you did was just bother us, to be honest with you.
You can't even do one thing over there. All you got to do is talk on the mic, and I'm doing 4 things, and I'm vlogging, and that's distracting you.
Well, yeah, it was very distracting.
What's that say about you?
It tells me that I pay attention to the host who's over there running the ship. When he goes off mic and starts talking, I thought maybe we had a major catastrophe. I thought something went down.
Just saying.
It is funny when it happens to someone else.
See, it is, isn't it? Yeah, when it happens to someone else, that's awesome. Funny stuff. So yeah, I'm putting together a vlog of a day in the life because me and Lurch worked hard today, and I'm sure by the time this comes out, that'll be out. But the Phase 7, yes, good comparison, and I'm very happy with it. Cheaper than the Daymaker. We won't do a whole episode on this, but the other thing, we get a lot of emails, and I know, guys, and I appreciate it. The Kuryakin Phase 7 LED is made by Trucklight. And if you want to search Amazon or anybody else, please use our affiliate link, lawabidingbiker.com /Amazon. And
no extra cost to you.
Oh, very nice. Look at Jake. He's right on the ball. That's right.
We get a few shekels.
We do get a few shekels thrown away if you click through and make a purchase. Now, again, lawabidingbiker.com /Amazon, and just bookmark that and call it like Help Lab or Lab Amazon. And once you bookmark it after going there, then every time you click that particular bookmark, guys, anything you buy, we're getting a kickback. And it doesn't, like Jake said, can you say it again?
No extra cost to you.
One more time.
No extra cost to you.
One more time.
You're going to hit me with the I don't care.
You know, I want to do something. But yeah, guys, so it's made by Truck Light, right?
Yes, it is.
And Chewy actually put a Truck Light. The reason I did the Kuryakin Phase 7, guys, is because it's sometimes can be, it's not difficult to find the truck lights, but some guys are confused. I just wanted to do something that was out there and we'd been asked about a lot. And so, yes, I could have went and got the truck light and I could have put that in. And yes, I paid a little more for the Kuryakin. I get it. But guys weren't asking for truck light. They were asking, have you done a comparison on the Kuryakin? And so I'm giving the audience what they want. And that headlight was purchased, through patron funds. We try to save up a little bit and purchase some of the stuff. Honestly, it's a great headlight. I don't know if I would have personally bought it right away, other than people were knocking my door down. And so I put it on the top priority and did it. Go ahead, Matt.
Well, Kuryakin's a more mainstream company that people know of. Most riders know about that. Not everybody knew what truck light was. So that's why we went with the Kuryakin. And as you say, that's what people were asking for. And we do our best to provide what you asked for.
Yes, people weren't asking for the truck light.
Right.
Yeah. But you can go to Amazon, search Truck Light. It's made by Truck Light. You can get it. It doesn't have Kuryakin branding, and it's the same damn thing, guys. I know. lawabidingbiker.com/phase, and the number 7 is how you get directly to that free video in comparison. I did a nighttime GoPro videos neck to neck with the stock, and it is. It's great, and I'm glad I did it. I just don't know if I'd have jumped on it as quick as I did had it not been for us wanting to, do what the audience has requested. So lawabidingbiker.com/banners will get you to our banners page. If you want to do the Kuryakin one, there's J&P Cycles, Motorcycle Superstore. Revzilla is one of our favorites, guys. And we're working something with them right now. But they are very, very good. And if you want to get the actual Kuryakin Phase 7, instead of trying to muddle around and try the actual truck light. But Chewy did it, and it is the same exact headlight. I looked at it. They're just stamping, white labeling is what we call it in the industry, guys. Main topic, inside the Mongols nation with Lisa Ling. Apparently, I always thought, guys, it was Lisa Ling. And so the reason that was said like that is because in all my show notes, it says Lisa Ling. And apparently I was corrected by Jake, and it's Lisa Ling. Ling.
Oh, yeah, that goes back to my teaching days when I was introduced to Lisa Ling.
Really? You got introduced to her?
Well, it was on TV, but back in oh yeah.
Just that's ridiculous. Go ahead.
No,
how'd you get introduced to her? I know about you dirty teachers.
Yeah, when I was teaching, it was mid-90s to late 90s. There was a channel that we watched every day for the first 15 minutes of class that we had to show the kids called Channel 1 News. And she was a reporter on that. So you're talking 20 years ago, almost, between 15 and 20 years ago. And, I thought she was pretty smoking back then. I don't know about now, but yeah.
Did you put her in the well?
It rubs the lotion on its skin. It does this whenever it's told.
It rubs the lotion on the skin. It does so whenever it's told.
Did you see that? Well,
precious. Oh, did you see that Elf on the Shelf picture I sent you?
That was beautiful.
God, that was funny. Elf on a shelf going down the well and puts the lotion on the skin. It's dropping. Oh my God.
The Barbie on the floor. In the hole.
Oh God, yeah, dude. We get so off track. So inside the Mongols nation. So you had obviously some personal experience with her. All right. Real quick.
I'm trying to figure out. You just thought she was hot? Is that what you're saying?
Nope.
Yeah, I did.
Hang on.
Okay.
Back
good.
That's what I want to know.
1996, I did.
Hang on. We're not. We're putting it out there right now. We're going to do a little survey, guys, and on a scale.
That's not a 96 picture.
Hang on. Okay. Well, hang on. Let me go to images here. We're talking about Lisa Ling. If you guys want to look up, tell me which picture to click on that you're going to judge her on.
Jiminy Chris.
He's looking a little rough these days. Look at some of those pictures.
The one in the yellow up there wasn't too bad.
The one in the yeller right here?
No. Down. Oh, geez. We could do this all day.
Type like young Lisa Ling in there. Maybe you'll get different pictures.
All right.
Either way, she's clearly had some work done.
Young Lisa Ling. Images. Anything, Jake?
Better.
Yeah.
There's the one with a little bit of the cleavage showing there on the second
right
row.
there. Okay, so that's as good as we're going to get.
That's as good as we're going to get, yeah.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, the hot meter, Lisa Ling. Lurch, go ahead.
Well, in 1996, I
Does
would
it move
give
at all?
her an 8.
While you're sitting on the couch looking at this picture, do you get any movement?
No, I only have eyes
in
for
your
my
nether
wife.
region.
Nope, only have
What?
eyes for my wife.
What a dude, seriously.
Back then, I'd give her about an 8, but these days, she's about a 3, a little bit busted.
Oh, yeah, I'd agree with that. But yeah, 8 back then.
Yep, she was
Could
cute.
you answer in a question, please?
What is 8?
Thank you. Jake, what do you give her?
Then, what is an 8?
Okay, I give her what is a 6.
Okay.
I've never been that impressed with her, quite honestly. I don't think she's that hot, but everybody's got different taste. I'm just saying. Apparently, you guys think something about her.
Yeah, she wasn't bad looking when she was younger.
I'm not
There you
saying
go.
she's
That's
ugly.
a good picture right
That's a
there.
good picture over there.
Yeah, I guess that
kinda-
one's a little bit better.
I think she's had some bad face work done.
Yeah, currently, her current picture, she tried to retain that face, and it was poor.
Right. I can see she's made up there though for a photograph. That's so much touch up, dude.
We went way off topic.
Here,
didn't
look
we?
at this. See what
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yep.
Without all the touch up and stuff, dude. Oh, geez.
See, that's
Oh,
that's what I'm
no.
saying.
See that? I don't know if somebody's
Oh,
screwing.
no.
All right, that's enough about Lisa. This is ridiculous. We do need to talk about her a little bit though. I like this.
Perfect.
See what I mean? Look at what they can do with Photoshop, dude, though. You know what I mean? And makeup and photography and all that. Because there, I'm giving her an 8.
That's a picture of her when she was younger.
But you see what I'm saying? Dude, the lighting and yeah. Anyways, enough of that. My God. Okay. So Lisa Ling does this report. I'll have a link in the show notes. Apparently you found it on YouTube, right, Jake?
I did, and that's where I watched it, was on YouTube. Yes.
I'll get the YouTube link because if you go to the CNN, and I will just tell you guys straight up at the beginning of this episode, the CNN stands for the Communist News Network. That's my abbreviation of it. I can't stand CNN. I don't like it. They're, I'm not going to get into political views, but CNN to me is just it's a lot of lies.
As bad as MSNBC.
Exactly. It's like, and MSNBC is probably going under. It's hurting big time. And CNN is just, to me, it's just crap. But whatever, this is the Life with Lisa Ling show on CNN. And she apparently, I didn't know anything about it because I don't watch CNN, but she does these different, journalistic type documentary where she goes and does these hour-long, when they're put together, hour-long episodes. And so this got sent to us by a bunch of people. And she did this one, and I will have the links in the show notes if you want to go watch it. YouTube's better because CNN does forced commercials on you. And you've got to sit there for like 5 minutes every quarter of the episode. Literally, you can't get, and if you go back, then you have to start over. There's, it's not
No,
like
I
YouTube.
tried circumventing the commercials.
Yeah, so did I.
Doesn't work.
Forced. So we'll try to get the YouTube link for you because Jakey said he has it on there. So let's just talk. So it was Inside the Mongols Nation with Lisa Ling. She's supposed to do this, she had apparently some kind of exclusive access more so, and Jake's shaking his head and rolling his eyes over there. Go ahead. You got a thought right now. She's a very naive liberal reporter. And so I don't think the documentary overall, I guess we'll get into our opinions of it, but I think she's very liberal. I think she's very naive, typical reporter.
Yeah, they didn't show her anything that they didn't want her to see. Mm-hmm. And if she thinks she was able to get some kind of access they didn't want her to have, she's dead wrong.
No, they'd ask her questions and they would. Yeah, they'd ask her questions. She would ask them questions and they wouldn't respond.
The one funny thing that we're getting into all that, but yeah, she didn't do this isn't some kind of reporting coup that she just used all her skills and wiles to get in here. It was, they wanted somebody to talk to and they got somebody and that happened.
They're trying to change, I'll say this for later.
No, say it, whatever.
They're trying to
because we'll get to it again.
They're trying to change their image. So they invite her in, they show that, that they have Sunday family day and we're just a great bunch of dudes. And it was propaganda for them to, put them,
well said, dude.
Just trying to change the way that they're viewed.
I don't see how anyone, after watching it though, was so blatant with how they did it and how it was clearly propaganda. You would have to be extremely, extremely naive not to have seen through that, in my opinion.
A lot of the general, I'm not saying obviously all our law-abiding bikers out there are smart enough to see through the smoke and mirrors, but you know, soccer mom sees an episode like that. You know what I mean? And I say that lightly, obviously we're just using a term of,
right.
Very, very naive when it comes to that type of stuff. And I will preface this by saying, we have always said here, we're going to be fair and balanced. So, yes, it is the Mongols 1% club. There's no joke, about that everybody knows. They're very proud of that 1%er club. So we're not saying anything that they're not publicly displaying. And again, here we've done some very fair and balanced media, even on the shootings and some of the episodes. We're going to call it like we see it. And we're not saying, and we've always said that here, that because there's a lot of people out there that said, I've met so-and-so with so-and-so 1%er club and he's a nice guy.
Sure.
Okay. We're not saying that's not the case. We've never said that here, and we'll reiterate it. We're different than them because we're fair, where they'll just group us all. You know what I mean? The law-abiding bikers. We would never do that here because that's not fair and balanced. I will tell you, I have met many, and both at the job and have had interactions, a few, very limited off, when I'm not at the job, just because they end up at places we don't. I've never had a problem. I will tell you that there are a lot in there that probably are up to no criminal activity, but there's large, within those groups, just like we saw, there are large groups within those that are committing criminal activities. It's proven. That's not arguable. They're in prison. That's not arguable. They've been convicted by juries. There is a lot of criminal activity that goes on in them, but not everybody's involved in it. And even some of the books you read, they say, some of the older guys, you know what I mean? They say, when they're infiltrating them, that they weren't really involved in a lot of that stuff, some of the younger guys. So you get these factions within, but no, not everyone is out pilfering and raping and murdering and selling drugs. No, it's not true. And they capitalize on that. And these clubs capitalize on that. And you'll see that in this episode when she's interviewing him,
but it's tolerated.
Exactly.
That's the concern.
Yes. Because see no evil, hear no evil. They know it's going on. And so I've said in the past when Matt Pass was on and stuff, guilty by association. Sorry. You know what 1% stands for, whether you're committing any or not. You know what it stands for. You know what it brings. You know that there are going to be people within your club where obviously we'd be like, that's not going in on our club. If it is, you're gone.
Out.
And so you're right. It is. Yeah, Jake, it is allowed. And for that reason, you got to be better than that. And so, but by no means, I've said it in the past and I say it again, we're fair here. I'm not saying everyone is out right now robbing and pilfering and murdering, and they are going to family barbecues and stuff and they capitalize on that, we're just a family motorcycle club, and they do a lot of running, and they're not doing it every day, all of them. So yeah. Anything?
No.
All right.
I think that's fair.
No, and that's what so we're going to be very fair here. But yeah, you're right. Definitely strung her up like a puppet as we go through this. They were definitely using, like Lurch said, my opinion, definitely using her and using the media. There's no better social media type public relations, and we've seen it from other 1%er clubs, use the media to do the teddy bear runs, and they know exactly what they're doing. They knew to open this very episode with a friendly family picnic at the park. Did you guys notice how that opened?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Entertainment at its finest.
It was. And do they do that? Of course they do. They get together and have barbecues, and they had all the kids, and everybody does that. That's not impressive to me.
Well, the cool thing,
but they wanted us to see that, right. And they wanted her to see that. And it was I wonder how much they had in editing rights.
Well,
before they sign that, you know what I mean? Say, that doesn't go. Go ahead, Jake.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, and the funny thing, we're talking smack about her being a liberal reporter, and I don't like how she ended it. But at times in the episode, she asked some good questions that she didn't get answers to, and that we saw. I wonder if she did get some of those and they got edited out. But it just seemed to me like she'd ask some good questions, wouldn't get answers to them, and then she just let it go.
Right.
And then the audience is like, they might just, those guys are good guys. They just don't want to talk about that stuff. But
Right. And the whole, she says a lot, I have unprecedented access. No, you don't got shit, Lisa Ling. Sorry. You don't have you're a pretty face and they brought you in and they are just stringing you right along. It's so funny how they take her and where they take her. And she's, and I truly believe she believes she's getting unprecedented access and she ain't getting shit. It's funny that that particular group has not done a lot of public relations. And I think they must think, Lurch, with recent incidents with the Waco shooting, they weren't involved with that, but that we know of right now. But, with that, they opened this episode with that, one of the deadliest biker shootings. And I think they got the new president, which we'll get into. I think he's a little bit more astute, shall I say, that they need a better image before they really get hemmed up by the feds.
A little more media savvy.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. We talk about the good questions too. She asked a good one there at the family meeting.
Mm-hmm. What is it?
Why don't you wear your colors at family day? His answer was what was ridiculous.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, he tells them we don't want to attract law enforcement attention. But then the good thing I thought she did was she pointed out that there was police presence there.
Mm-hmm.
So they already knew they weren't wearing those colors for another reason.
Right. Yep. I agree. And, and the funny thing is they're in the park, they're with the kids and, it's just a happy, happy family. And okay, they are awesome. I get it. And you got the prospects walking around picking up garbage and stuff. So we get introduced to Lil Dave. And there's 2 squad cars in the parking lot, 2 black and whites. And here's what I want to put this is where we have a lot of experience and we can enlighten people on this because you get a one-sided view and there's some ignorance on Little Dave's part. They're just watching us and obviously there's heightened security after the Waco incident, right? So law enforcement is on that and they're watching. And Little Dave, of course, the typical, they're just wasting their time. They're actually not. And here's what I'll submit to the audience is, because we have some experience with this. Okay, those Leos that were there, the law enforcement officers and the squad cars didn't go there just because. Okay, they went there because there's a heightened level of security. They were told to detail that. The sad thing is that Little Dave doesn't know they're there not to arrest anybody. They're there to protect their very children because they're stupid enough to have a bunch of 1%ers together in a park with kids and wives, knowing what lifestyle they're in. And those LEOs are there to protect so that it shows presence. And so another rival club doesn't get the idea to go into that park and start a rampage shooting and kill innocent wife and children. And that is what Little Dave is ignorant about. They're not there. They don't give a shit about that, but I guarantee 1% or not, those guys in those squad cars would be in the middle of the fight to protect everybody they could should that arise. But what they're there for is so that those innocent people don't get hurt, and they will never understand that. You know what I mean?
And you can't put a price or a value on what their presence might have prevented.
That's what I'm saying.
In several areas. I mean, just not there. Anytime when police show presence, and we hear this all the time, you're there for a purpose. You're there to stop something before it happens. And sometimes just your presence will do it.
Right. And that's exactly what they were there for.
Exactly.
And, they got better things to do. You know what? Trust me, I'm sure they do. You'd like to be doing a lot of things, but they were told to be there, and they're there to make sure that your children and your wives don't get, shot up. Because if there's nobody there and somebody finds out about right? Isn't that the best thing for another rival 1%er club to come by at a family picnic? You know what I mean? Lurch, you're silent over there.
No, because I don't have anything to say. You're saying it right.
Okay.
You may not always know why that law enforcement presence is there, and you're explaining the other side of it, which I think is good for the audience to hear.
Yeah, good. And that's the insight hopefully we have. They're not there looking to make an arrest and they're watching everything. They're there sitting there till you break up your party so nobody gets killed.
And
your kids don't get killed.
Keep the peace.
Right. Yep. In my experience, they're hoping they don't have to make an arrest.
Yeah.
They don't want to.
Exactly.
They're more than happy just to chill out there until it's over.
And that's exactly what they did. They didn't get out of their car, and they don't show that light. They should be doing something better. Yeah, right. Well, they are doing something better. They're protecting your kids. All right, so let's move on. So the old Mongols came on the scene back in 1969. If you're not familiar with that history, the rumor is that there was a bunch of Latino vets that were refused entrance to the HAs, the Hells Angels.
I hadn't heard that before.
Yes, and that's around a lot. And so those Latino vets that were refused obviously got pissed off and said, we're going to start the Mongols Motorcycle Club. And again, 1969 is when that all started. So go ahead, Jake.
I had also heard that when this happened, you're right about how it initially got started, but they kind of wanted to show some muscle and to try to beef up their numbers. They started recruiting Latino street gang members into their number to build them up to be able to at least have some strength to be able to stand up against the HAs.
You're right.
I'd heard that as well.
That is very true.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information on that, and you're right. And so that gives a little bit about their character and what they're about, and that obviously they're a 1%er club. They were willing to bring street gang thugs into their ranks to build those forces. And again, there were some violent times between, you go back between the HAs and the Hells Angels, and it's still a lot of tension between those two clubs, but not nearly as bloody and violent as it has been in the past, if I'm
correct. They even had bombings and everything, and that's kind of chilled since then.
Yes. It has. There was a lot of stuff going on there for a while. So, all right. So they talked to several members at this barbecue, and one member, and there was a prospect interviewed. And here's interesting stuff. So common themes, guys. And we've talked about this in the past when we talk about motorcycle clubs. We've done in-depth episodes on why people join motorcycle clubs and why they want to. Just go to lawabidingbiker.com and where do they search, Lurch?
Well, there's a handy dandy little search bar at the top right of the page that you're on. You can type in whatever topic you're interested in, and it'll pull up every picture, every video, every podcast, everything that you can think of on that topic. It'll all be right there on one page for you. Very,
very nicely done, Lurch. We encourage you to do that because you can find information really fast. Some common themes, and they talk to these guys. Again, a member and a prospect. I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but both Iraq war vets from 07 to 08. God bless all our soldiers and everybody who's served. And there are a lot of military people in these clubs. And again, common for vets, guys. We know that. We know that from clubs that have started up, many clubs that a lot of them are vets, and they find that bond and that brotherhood and what they can't find when they get out of the military.
And a little bit of excitement, get that adrenaline going, riding motorcycles, having fun.
1%er patch. I'm a bad boy. People, look at me and
Well, when you're in
law
war,
enforcement's looking at us, it's kind of an excitement.
Yeah, when you're in war and you're getting shot at and bombed at, I mean, you're running on the edge, and so you get back into society and it's boring, and you're looking for something to get that adrenaline going again. So you
plus that tight brotherhood,
and
right?
The brotherhood.
Because you spend every minute together.
So it's a perfect combination. You got the brotherhood, and then you got the excitement of riding motorcycles and what all that entails.
Yep. Well said. Go ahead, Jake.
What's another reason why a lot of military vets get into law enforcement is you get the same thing.
You're right. Good call.
But it's on the
both
side of the law.
Both these guys say it's similar to the military, and because they have each other's backs. They talked to one guy called Dead Man, and he says some of them his what he said was, some of them have taken me in kind of like a family member. I didn't have a father. You see that a lot with 1%er clubs. I didn't have a father. They treated me well. They respected me. They brought me up. They took me under their wing. We hear this over and over and over, that those kind of people looking for something, looking for security.
Just like
and he found his security.
Family.
Unfortunately, he found it in a 1%er club, but he found it, and it's there. And so those were his very own words. So
did Lisa ask him a question?
Yes, this is actually, she did I'm not going to give Lisa Ling a bad time the whole time through. She had some good insight because it's funny because she has no experience. And so what experience she was allowed access to, she brings her own conclusions out of, which from a naive person who doesn't know anything about motorcycle clubs, it's interesting to hear that. Because we try to be fair and balanced. We're still, everybody's tainted with their life experiences. So this was an interesting something she said. She kind of sums it up. Let's listen in on this.
The more time I spend with these guys, the more I'm seeing how significant this brotherhood is in each of their lives.
There's something primal
and tribal about it. These guys are willing to die and kill for each other. And there aren't that many other outlets that allow men to feel that kind of alpha way. And I get it. I'm not a man, but I get it.
You know, honestly, that was powerful to me, the way she said that, because it kind of sums up everything we're talking about, Jake.
We get it. I hear that. You know, that statement was, it was pretty, I think, right on.
Something primal and tribal and guys and you know, and macho and bikes and motors and guns and fear and danger and brotherhood and drinking and right. I mean, a lot of midlife crisis is going on. You know what I'm saying?
I like how she says, she goes, I'm not a guy, but I get it.
Right. She gets it. That's everything a guy stands for. She doesn't understand why we feel that way, but she gets it. Yeah.
Did you hear her ask why they called the guy Dead Man? Why do they call you Dead Man?
Oh, yeah.
She asked him that.
Go ahead. What did he say? I remember what he said. Nothing,
he wouldn't
basically.
Say it. He said, I'm not going to talk about that.
Yeah, I know.
Those are the little things that I just want to point out. Those are the little comments that I think somebody who lives like what we do, and we look for little things. Those are the little things that are telltale on what the real lifestyle is.
When she asked him about the patches, he goes, I can't talk about that. It's all online. You can look it up.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing too. There's a lot of, you're right, Jake. And, about, very, very careful about what they told and what they didn't. So let's talk about this. Do you guys remember this? Let's brief over this real quick and we'll keep moving right along.
Right.
Anybody? Bueller? Bueller. Okay. It's in 2008 anyways.
Okay.
To bring you guys all up to, you want to go, Jake?
That's cool. Okay. You can do it.
In 2008, there were a bunch of arrests, guys, if you didn't know. That was a big time in Mongol history when federal agents had infiltrated the Mongols. 75 arrests, racketeering to drug and weapons trafficking, all the way to murder, guys. The national president was arrested at that time. His name was Ruben Doc Cavazos. He faced life in prison. He was the mastermind behind many of the Mongols' criminal activities and organization. And so it's on record, guys. There is no doubt. If you ever think different, it's not correct. They have had a long history of criminal activities. It's proven. There's many people serving prison sentences because of what they did within the Mongols. Doc Cavazos has since been excommunicated from the club, and that is when this little Dave, this new president, which I think he's smarter. He stepped into his role because he's the one going out. He's the one that, right, was the forefront of this media attention.
He's the figurehead. He's the one making contact with the media, and definitely seems to be a lot more media savvy and is trying to work to, whether or not he's actually doing it, he says he's trying to take the club in a new direction. At a minimum, he's getting it out in the media to say, hey, that was the past is the past. We've changed our ways. We're good guys now.
Right.
Have we talked about, and it might be coming up here, as to one reason why I think they really wanted to do this. They were facing a catastrophe when they put this out, and they needed to get some information out. They needed some propaganda because this club was facing a catastrophe.
Yes, they were, about getting their insignia taken.
Yeah, getting their insignia declared by the federal government is basically a criminal thing.
Correct. So, the club's under indictment, guys, if you didn't know that it was, based on these 2008 arrests, right? Is this what you're getting to, Jake?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. The club was under indictment, guys. And it was the first time the federal government and the federal prosecutors were basically going after them for their colors, for their insignia, for their trademark. And saying, because it's part of a criminal organization and all that kind of stuff, you're not allowed to have that trademark, and we're going to take it from you. It's been a long battle. That started in 2008.
Yeah, they were revoking their trademark and seizing all their colors.
If it would have been upheld, it would have given law enforcement the ability to just yank those things if they saw anybody wearing them.
Right. Which would have been history, because that's never happened.
Yeah.
Which is why it was such a controversial case.
Right.
And save those opinions for the end. That's an interesting, what we believe in that, about colors and trademarks and things like that. But anyways, you're right, Jake, and I'm glad you brought that up. So let's move on to interviews. They did a couple interviews up front here, and they asked, this is what's interesting, and I'll see what you guys say. They asked several members about the obligatory meetings. Okay. And these guys, she said, is there like obligatory meetings? Okay, this is what's so funny to me. This is what's so ridiculous is these guys sit there and smirk, no comment, no comment. Of course, there's fucking obligatory meetings, you dumbass. Law-abiding biker clubs, the sworn few has obligatory meetings. That's not illegal. It's not secretive. Of course you have monthly meetings. The frickin' Lions Club has monthly meetings, right?
That would have been an easy one to just say, yes, we have monthly meetings.
I know. And that's what's so stupid and just drove me nuts. I'm like, they're trying to be all like, we're telling, but we still have some secrets. You might want to make it something bigger than that. Right? I mean, that's not even exciting. That's not even exciting, dude.
To me, that whole section that you're talking about there was the funniest part of the whole thing. You ever been in a fight?
Yeah. You ever been in a fight? Been around any fights? She asked, you been around any melees? No comment, just smiles. Okay. They would have been better to say, yeah, we've been in a few brawls. You know, they could have said anything like, but we didn't start them. But it's just childish to me. It was like, we don't have obligatory meetings and no comment. And it's worse when you do that. You know that, right? From a public relations, no comments, pretty much the worst thing you can say for any organization to come out. And we all learn that, not only in LEOs, but even in private business. You don't come out. There are times that you have to do it, but it's rare where it will benefit you to come out and say no comment. You can, because that just opens up the doors for complete speculation.
That little segment there was counterproductive to what this whole thing was about. I mean, they're supposed to be open and inviting the media in and showing them that we've changed, but then they have those guys that won't answer a couple of simple questions.
You're right, Matt. Good.
Yeah, it's completely opposite. They should have just said, yeah, we have monthly meetings. You ever been around a fight? Yeah, whatever.
We try to avoid them, but once in a while it happens.
Yeah, I've gotten in a fight.
And just move on and blow it off, dude. Mm-hmm. And the public would have accepted that. You're right.
Yeah, because anyone can look on YouTube and find a video of a fight. And that was the opposite of unprecedented access.
Right.
Right.
Right. Dude, you guys got some great freaking stuff right there. Yeah. Again, would have been, definitely better for him to just admit the obligatory meetings and all that. And again, that's lack of control over the organization. You know what I mean? Little Dave brought him in, but if we did that, if I brought media into this, even law-abiding biker, there would be like, yeah, you guys, I want you to tell them cooperate. You know what I mean? You could tell some guys maybe not really happy with little Dave's decision, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I got that.
Yeah, because
if you had control over your club, you'd have said, no, you will talk to her and you will tell her. And you would have had meetings saying, it's okay. Tell her there's monthly meetings. Talk briefly about fight. You would have had a complete, because it just made them look bad.
There's a lot of history of not opening the doors and not being honest with the media or the public. And so they're trying to do the opposite. And those two gentlemen were not comfortable with it.
Right. And it was the same in the Hells Angels when Sonny Barger did it, when he started getting real public and trying to give the club the make them look good. Right.
Right.
The PR type stuff. And a lot of them didn't like that, but that was one of the smartest moves they ever made. Like I say, the teddy bear runs, and we help breast cancer awareness, and we donate all kinds of money, and we're just bikers and out on the road, you're right. A history of not doing that. And then but again, that would have been a little bit went over more, I guess.
It wouldn't have raised so many questions as a viewer. Yes. You're watching, you go, well, why wouldn't they answer that? And just the demeanor, they're standoffish, they're not answering. They got smirks.
Yes.
It just leaves you as a viewer. And even if you don't know anything about motorcycle clubs, it's going to leave you to wonder.
Something bad's going on.
Yeah.
It makes you look bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Even the most ignorant viewer is going to go,
what's up with that?
Why are you hiding shit? Yeah, you just had a family barbecue at the park. Why are you hiding obligatory meetings? I still don't get that. I'll get off that.
Well, look at it this way.
Beating a dead horse.
I've been a PIO for pretty much the PIO for our department for 5 years.
RSO?
No, PIO.
Oh, sorry.
RSO. You're done. If I would have answered questions like that, they would destroy me.
Here's how you answer.
I don't care.
Every time the media comes.
You know what?
I don't care.
That would be funny on camera, but I think we'd be the only ones.
Right, you're right. You're right. Sorry, you were saying as a PIO, you would never answer.
No, if I did answer
and
a question
LEOs do
like
that, you're right.
They would destroy me. And they would destroy the department and the media.
Yep.
But they don't do it for this.
Yep.
That's what's upsetting.
Yeah, you're right. And it's exactly what I expected when you're just using the media for your own benefit. And the media, to me, guys, especially CNN, not so much Fox News, because they actually won't have interviews of certain people if they try to, especially Bill O'Reilly, they try to interview people and they try to put all kinds of restriction on it, and he simply won't interview them. And he comes out publicly saying we're not going to interview. You're either going to come on and talk to us. You're not going to tell us how and what we can ask you. Well, trust me, CNN will do that. And so it's less than credible reporting when it comes down to that. And so CNN can be used like a little puppet for their benefit, and it's free documentary they got, free publicity, free, as much as we're saying it didn't go that well. Still, it's free. They didn't have to pay for that campaign, so to speak. So, here, let's talk about this. Do you guys remember this where they're at the clubhouse?
I remember this. This was I want to say this now was my favorite part.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they had a Dead Man and Soldier in the clubhouse, right? And they were playing pool, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. And the one guy, Soldier, talks a little bit more than Dead Man she's talking about. And he says, he's talking about how they have to do she's asking questions about why they have to be a prospect for how long and what they have to do. And he talks about it being a lifetime commitment. And for him, what he wants to see is a lifetime commitment. She asks him what it means. And he says, for me, that's death or prison.
Right.
And so from my standpoint, I'll take a bullet for my brothers in blue, but I'm not going to say death or prison. Death or prison is something a gang member says.
Thank you.
So that's another indication that, okay, we're not as law abiding as we're trying to portray ourselves.
As docile as we are.
Right.
To me, that very statement tells me why, and here's what a lot of them claim, right? And again, we're trying to be fair and balanced here, but if you're a club and you're getting in a motorcycle club to say, oh, we're just a bunch of motorcycle enthusiasts that love to ride, then why are you ready for death or prison? Where the fuck did that come from? You see what I'm saying?
You're doing something that's fucked up.
If you're ready if that's your goal in life is death or prison and you're not a criminal club, then are you tracking, Lurch?
Oh, yeah.
It makes no sense to me why you would be, I'm just getting in a nice little family barbecue club and we just like to ride and work on motorcycles, but fucking I'm ready for death or prison. Dude, what the hell, dude? I don't even know. That just is so ignorant to even, and you're obviously in a criminal organization if that's your aspirations for life is death or prison.
Yeah, and I don't know what they cut from this and the editing, but this is one of the points where I said Lisa asked some good questions, but another time she didn't follow up. She needed to follow up with that.
Oh, dude, they would never have reporters like us. They would never have a Bill O'Reilly because he would.
What's that mean?
Right. Or Hannity Combs. Could you imagine if they would have Hannity in there? He'd have been like,
oh, yeah.
The frick does that mean? Oh, she just was docile. I think she was a little intimidated.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Donald Trump. This is huge. It's a huge problem. Huge.
Nice one, dude. Trump 2016.
Oh my God. What a mess that would be.
Dude, can it be any worse? Are you really? No. We're not even going to get into politics, dude. No. But are you seriously saying Trump would be worse than what we have now? Oh my God.
I don't know. Some of the shit he says.
You can't get any worse, dude. We should do a whole nother podcast on our political views. Maybe not.
Now we might go to brawls.
Right. We definitely would, dude.
We're all conservatives, but it's
Secret Service might show up. That's not cool.
Right. Yeah. We are over the airwaves. All right. So let's see. Yeah. So he says, he goes on to say death or prison. If I could die for a brother, go to prison for a brother in my nice little club. But if I have to go to prison or if I have to die for a brother, and he says, if a brother can't handle prison, I'll handle it for him. Basically, I'd go to prison for a brother just to handle it if he's not strong enough.
Been there before.
I like this. Been in prison. He's been in prison. They did a background check on him for cultivating and for marijuana, basically went to prison. And he says his response is just, I was cultivating just a little marijuana.
And Lisa said, must have been a bunch. That's the funniest thing she said the whole time.
It was. At least she was smart enough to realize you don't go to prison for a sack of weed. You go to prison for cultivating large amounts of marijuana. So that was good that she was at least smart enough to do that. And the interesting thing was that these guys openly admitted that now that little Dave's in charge, that he would not allow marijuana distribution in the club. They said that. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Oh, I caught
She goes, now that little Dave's in charge, he wouldn't, that was back in the day, but little Dave won't allow that in the club. Take it for what it is.
Sorry, I'm coughing. I got to catch my throat.
Right. But it sounded good.
Well, even if he made that proclamation, there's still guys doing it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. There's guys getting arrested all the time for,
There's that whole thing of, hey, man, whatever you do on your own's cool. Just don't involve the club.
And they alluded,
But
and
there's
little
still-
Dave was really good about that.
Yeah.
About saying, well, that's not the club as an overall.
That's
not
just the individual.
And that's what they do all to beat RICO.
Yeah.
These guys know the racketeering, influence, corrupt organization.
Yeah.
That's the RICO Act, guys. It's the feds. If the feds can show that it's a criminal conspiracy as a whole, that it's some kind of mastermind, then there's a lot of RICO statutes that they can hem these clubs up, and they have. The Mongols are very, very large recipients of the RICO Act. But if they can stay away, and they know exactly what to say. Well, that was just certain individuals. Well, that was just certain individuals that got on the drug charges. Well, that wasn't a club. They always do that. And little Dave was good at it. It's not a club as a whole. And they really promote that to put in the eyes of the public and the feds and everybody that it's not the club. As long as they can believe that, then they believe they can't get RICO. You know what I mean?
All these 1% clubs have a lawyer that told them to say that. They chase you.
Yes.
Saying, oh, just a few guys that are stupid.
Yeah, we're just at a family barbecue. Those guys were out selling drugs. We didn't know anything about it. And they might not have. They might know that drugs are being sold. They just didn't know it was being sold at that time. And they don't want to know. And I believe we've seen it. They've seen it through investigations that they really, back when they first started, there was a lot more. It was a lot more. Everybody knew what was going on. They are very much better, and they've evolved over time with the federal RICO statute at very much separation. And we saw it in the George Christie, the Hells Angels Outlaw Chronicles. We saw it with him that says the chapters are becoming very independent, and right. And they believe that if they can have independent chapters and they don't have these big meetings and they don't really, it's the head nod instead of the, hey, we need to sell this and that. And it's true. It's harder for the feds to get at them because they're completely separated from each other and they're not having those huge organizational, meetings and conspiracies and things like that. So they're very good at saying, no, we just kind of run our own chapter. And, I believe they've evolved over time doing that. And I've heard it from a lot of them. So I know that they're being fed it, like Jake says. Mm-hmm. Anything else?
No,
I think we covered that.
All right. So next they talked, this was an interesting, let's listen in on this. I was going to try to break this down, but I think it's better if we listen to it first.
Okay.
Because it just is going to bring up a lot of points. This is an interview where they sit down with little Dave and
at his house,
talk to him at his house. And he invites Lisa into his home. Obviously there's multiple cameras. Being a videographer, I know there was at least 3 cameras because of the angles they got. And they got, at his dining room table. And this is probably one of the most interesting points in this whole episode that I keyed in on a lot of facts. So with that said, before we listen to that, let's thank a few people. What do you say about that, boys? These are flat donations, guys. And of course, we love our patrons. And all the support we get from our patron community, and they get benefits. We will never balk at a flat donation. They do help. That was nice, dude. Can you do it again? That was Jake Justice, none other.
I think that was Lurch.
Lawabidingbiker.com/donate. Take action today. That's right. You running right now. That's right. You driving to work. You in your big rig, your 18-wheeler rolling down the road. Pull over though first. Take action. Thank these people, Jakey or Matt.
All right. Stephen Small of Hagerstown, Maryland, with a substantial donation. Thank you very much.
Shout out Hagerstown.
Murray Aldous of Milford, New Hampshire, and Patrick Thompson of Las Cruces, New Mexico.
New Hampshire, New Mexico. Shout out. Thank you so much for your guys' support, for taking action, for taking the step. Put a little fuel in the law-abiding biker gas tank so we
can keep this bitch running on down the road.
That's right. And that little ditty or saying was coined, of course, by Lurch. All right, let me get back up to the show notes here. And this was, okay, so we're back on the interview with Little
Right.
Dave, Lisa Ling.
Yeah, back in the day, I mean, we went to war with another organization for that purpose.
That'd be the
Dave's
Hells Angels.
talking about the Hells Angels. The Mongols started wearing the California bottom rocker,
That's correct.
and the other club wasn't happy with that.
Right, because they felt they were here first. It was a big war. They were blowing each other up. They would disrespect us and shoot us or try to blow.
Let me pause that. But there was no criminal activity going on.
None at all.
Okay, they're just a riding club. There was no bombs, but he just said it.
Shit up at funeral homes when we were trying to bury our brothers. There was like no respect or honor.
Really? No respect or honor? I don't believe that.
But at the end of the day, we weren't going to let nobody push us or bully us around or run us out of town. We were here to stay and we weren't going to go nowhere.
Is it obligatory when you come across bikers from a rival club to battle it out?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, maybe back in the days, but not anymore.
So you could kick it with the Hells Angels?
I wouldn't break bread or drink a beer with somebody from that organization. I have enough brothers to do that with. And at this point, our fight is against the government.
Change the subject. Did you see that?
He did, and you notice he won't even say it. He won't even say the other club. He'll just say the other club.
The other organization.
Yeah, the other organization. He won't even use their name.
I wouldn't break bread with them. And do you see how he changed our fights with the government, not the Hells Angels? Because they know the more they say on film, the more they'll use that against them, right? If there is a battle royale between those two clubs. Here we go.
The Mongols are facing a landmark legal battle. Federal prosecutors are seeking forfeiture of the trademark on their patches, arguing that they emblemize a violent criminal enterprise. Dave invites me to a hearing. I see that he's traded in his leathers for a suit. Morning.
Morning.
Didn't even recognize you.
Clean up well. At least I like to think so. How you doing, bro? How you doing, bro?
Oh, is this your attorney here?
Yeah, bro.
Hi, how are you?
Lisa Joyani.
Lisa, very nice.
Elisa Joyani. Elisa, I'm attorney Elisa Joyani.
Sorry.
He's had a few too many cigarettes.
Oh my God, dude. When I heard him talk, I about jumped out of my seat when I was watching this shit, dude. I don't even know what his name is. Elisa Joyani.
Joey something.
Give me a smoke.
All right, let's continue this interview here. I'm going to get completely off track.
Nice to meet
Glad to meet you.
Hey, Joe. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. Hey, guys.
That's something out of fucking Poltergeist, dude.
Joe's got a deep voice. A little raspy.
I can't even listen to him, seriously.
I can't even reproduce it.
Oh my God. Can you imagine as a judge having to listen to that fucker every day in court?
I'm pretty sure he smokes Camels with no filters.
I like some French fries with
Funny
gravy.
shit.
I make a motion to dismiss.
You're saying he sounds like Sling Blade,
Yeah.
Jake?
What are you gonna do with that? What are you gonna do with that lawnmower blade? I aim to kill you with it.
Oh my God. Oh, we're getting off track, dude. Yeah, I'd have to listen to that. The judges just look like, you're like, the hell did you just say?
Judge
Make a motion to dismiss.
The judge goes, "Hey, Sling Blade, sit down."
Hey, security, get Sling Blade out of the courtroom, please. All right, let's finish this damn interview.
So what could happen today?
There's a lot at stake, I guess. You know, it's a chance to maybe get this thing thrown out, put an end to this persecution. You know, there were roughly 80 men accused back in 2008, and they have either served their debt to...
Stand by, Lisa. I need another camel. We're so immature in here, dude. I can't even listen straight. All right, hang on. Here we go.
society, or they're currently doing it. What they're trying to do now is go after the other 700 men that have nothing to do with what those men did.
See that, though? There's a RICO attorney, right? What did he just say there on a serious note?
Oh, yeah. They're trying to go after everybody else now.
Yep. There were approximately 700 men, 70 stop this persecution. There's only 70 men involved. 70 men is a large amount when you're talking. What did he say? The club? How many did he say?
Well, he said 700. I don't know what the true numbers are.
So that's 10% of a club. That's huge. That's huge. And as we go through this interview, God, I got a lot of things I want to bring up, and let's just do it. And then we can get back. So I've heard the argument before, and I'll be the first to tell you that there are bad eggs in law enforcement. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And but you're talking about how many LEOs are there in the United States? I don't have the figures off my head, but hundreds of thousands.
I've heard 750,000.
Yeah, and you're talking about, and there are some bad cops, and they'll say, well, there's bad eggs and 1%ers, and there's bad eggs and cops. You're right, but you're talking about police less than 1%. Less than 10%
would be 75,000.
Yes.
It would destroy this country.
Right. We would have an epidemic. So please don't make that argument with you, because it can't be backed by any substantial data.
And in law enforcement, there's procedures in place to get rid of people that make those errors.
Internal investigations, you get fired, you go to prison.
Gone.
We see it. That was just a point that came to my head. So please, I've heard that argument. I haven't heard it very much, but you usually hear it from those type individuals. And you're like, dude, you can't even lay a foundation for that when you're talking about 10%. And here's their own attorney. Here's an attorney that's admitting openly that 10% of the Mongols were arrested. You know what I mean? Basically. Yeah. So, that's not a great thing probably for him to say as far as I'm concerned. I'm no attorney, but I'm like, if he would have did those numbers ahead of time and figured out and used a calculator to figure it out.
This guy would have a great voiceover career.
No, he wouldn't.
No, it's cool. It's a unique
movies.
Sure, it's a unique and cool voice. I think he'd be like in a cartoon or something.
I'm under your bed.
Well, this is another good thing about attorneys.
Another
thing to point out about attorneys is he was hired for one purpose. It's not the whole view of it. He sold out those 70 guys. He's just he's worried about
doing over there.
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, he was willing to sell out those 70 guys. Oh, yeah, those guys are sons of bitches.
Yes,
but
right.
These other 700 are good, but those 70 guys are sons of bitches.
That's brotherhood.
Yeah.
That's part of the brotherhood. You just freaking sell each other out. We didn't promote that. We didn't know those 70 individuals were doing that. Those fuckers are in prison right now going like this. Here's the look on their face. Hands up. Like, what the frick? You guys don't support us anymore. You know what I mean? We've seen that, right? We've seen the running, the hiding, the selling each other out. We've talked about it before.
But I thought
there's informants,
had each other's backs,
right? And we hear that. Yeah, they have each other's backs just like criminals until the shit hits the fan, and then they sing like a canary. And we see it all the time. That's all good and fine when things are going well, but when you're looking at life in prison, you tend to have a different view, or you're trying to save your club's insignia. All right, let's go back to Poltergeist Man.
So this is potentially a very big day.
Very huge day for us. Been under indictment for the last 7 years now. You'd think enough's enough.
Lady first.
The judge doesn't allow our cameras inside, but I spend a few hours in the hearing. The case does not get dismissed, and I'm a little shocked by some of the things I hear. When I was sitting in that courtroom and the judge was reading off the different acts of the indictment,
right.
He mentioned murder.
Sure.
And drug trafficking.
Right.
And robbery and money laundering.
Right.
You've been in the club for a long time.
Right.
You had to know that some of that stuff was going on.
That was one of her better questions, because she's got him right now on the hook a little bit.
And he's going, yeah.
I'm surprised she had the balls to ask that, because she's pretty much been played to a puppet. And yeah, you're right. So here we go.
The drug trafficking, I can't really speak on.
Don't you love that? Yeah, drug trafficking. I'm the president of the club, but I'm not so up to date on that. I didn't get the memo.
Those were individual acts. It's not.
Hear that? Individual acts. Those were really individual. Rico. Here we go.
As a whole, as a club. But as far as the murders or the attempted murders, they were self-defense.
Knows exactly what to say. Not one murder in the Mongols' history has ever been anything but self-defense, FYI.
He should have just answered all those questions with Rico.
Right, exactly. And I wonder...
Throwing an Uncle Rico.
And I guarantee that his attorney was in this room while this was being recorded, off to the side behind those cameras. Stuff CNN won't show you.
What I tell my brothers is, as an American citizen, you have the right to defend yourself by any means possible. But just somebody's...
Jake shaking his head. Go ahead, Jake. Stop it there.
All right. Well, you do have the right to defend yourself from serious bodily injury.
Any means possible, Jake, to be
any means
correct.
possible. Well, if I had a nuclear bomb, could I set it off? That's what this guy.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's the correct, not the correct terminology.
Right.
You can't do it by any means necessary. It's a case, or what you're saying is it's a case by case basis.
Yeah.
And the necessary force used to stop the threat.
Right. If you and I are in a fist fight, you can't necessarily pull out a gun and blow my head off.
Right. You could, depending on the circumstance. That we're not even going to get into that.
I'm just saying. What I'm saying is by any means necessary is not correct.
Correct.
It is a case-by-case basis.
Yes. It was very funny when he said that. Everybody that's educated is like, okay, that's a little, that you can't, that's not really the correct terminology, little Dave.
Saying some are getting in your face ain't enough to jump.
Did you hear that, though? He said...
He's trying to change it.
He is. He's changing. He's like, but just... I tell the guys, just somebody getting up in your face isn't enough.
To jump.
Which apparently means fight.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're feeling froggy, you jump.
Right. If you're feeling froggy.
If somebody gets
Here we go.
shot or stabbed right from the gate, of course you're going to defend yourself. You're going to sit there and let yourself get murdered or killed.
Fair enough.
In court, prosecutors referenced a deadly clash between the Hells Angels and the Mongols that took place in 2002. Surveillance cameras recorded the incident at a casino in Laughlin, Nevada.
They came to us. We didn't come to them. They drew the first blood. Unfortunately, 2 of their guys died and 1 of our guys died on the floor of that casino. It was an unfortunate incident, like many, But that
Many unfortunate incidents for just motorcycle enthusiasts that just like to enjoy the open road. Haven't had any of those, Matt, just FYI. Have you?
No.
No. Jake? Because I enjoy the open road and motorcycle. I'm a motorcycle enthusiast. All right.
That was a club act of self-defense. We were minding our own business.
The government...
and there may be a little bit of truth to that.
There is some truth to that.
You know what I mean?
In that melee, there were probably some guys that were just defending themselves.
Correct. Once it starts,
right,
and you don't know, we saw it at the Texas Waco. There was a lot of people there didn't know that going down, and then all of a sudden, shots fired, and that's the problem.
Then
everybody starts pulling guns and you don't know what's going on and you don't know who's an enemy and who's not. And so there, we give credit where it's due. There's probably some truth to that,
Also alleged that in addition to the main patches on the backs of their vests, Mongols can earn patches for other things.
I saw that there is a patch, skull and crossbones, for taking out a target. Is that true?
This is funny.
Great question, Lisa.
Great question, Lisa, for being a liberal reporter. Dude, did you see the reaction when he did this?
Oh, yeah.
Almost like a juvenile boy. Looked away, laughed. Everything we look for in deceptive behavior and answering as LEOs. Completely looked off to the left. Laughed, played it off. He gets very uncomfortable. If you watch this, guys, the link will be in the show notes, lawabidingbiker.com/ and whatever episode this number is. The links will be there. You can watch this. And he starts sitting up in his seat. I watched it over and over. He starts adjusting himself back and forth. He's very, very uncomfortable with this line of questioning.
He was like my dog when I asked him are you the one that got in the garbage? Did you do it?
Rub his nose in it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's very hard to hide those behavioral things. And so a lot of times a non-response is more telling than an actual response.
And you can't hide it.
No.
No matter, Bill Clinton did it. Remember those?
It all depends on the meaning of is.
Yes, exactly. All right.
Really, Bill?
He's squirming in his chair now.
I mean, here's the thing, because it's online, so you can, tell me as much as you...
Public record. I haven't seen it on...
So what she's talking about, guys, if you don't know, is public disclosure, and that's what they're alluding to, is all this stuff is available through public disclosure, through the whatever agency handled it, through the federal court. Everything is government stuff is public knowledge for the most part, unless it creates, certain safety concerns. We're not going to get into the Public Disclosure Act, but that's what she's talking about. Is she looked it up, and this whole case is public disclosure, and in there, they're talking about the skull and crossbones.
That's news to me.
I can pull it up right now.
In a self-defense situation, maybe a brother was awarded that, but I can't get into a whole lot regarding the patches. It's just...
It is in the indictment, and...
It is public record. It is in the indictment, but on the patch situation, I just want to keep full anonymity on that.
Okay.
Well, you're not anonymous, so you're not keeping full anonymity. FYI. You know, and I'm not trying not to bust his balls too much, but I'm like, that's not really what you're saying is no comment.
I don't think you're not means what you think it means.
Right. You're not really anonymous, dude, because you're on camera, but you're looking for no comment is what you're looking for. You don't want to disclose any further information on that, right? Am I correct on that?
An answer like it, we don't share what our patches mean would have been much better than dancing around it.
Totally.
Just say as an organization, that's something that's sacred to us, and we don't share that information with the public. Next.
Right. Exactly.
Just give that answer instead of dancing around it.
Again, the toughest line of questioning she had the whole episode. And just her very light, tough questioning, in my opinion, got him squirming. Could you imagine if you had a reporter that actually dug a little bit? He would have probably stopped the interview.
Part of the reason why people, I think, are suspicious of motorcycle clubs is because there's so much secrecy involved.
There is secrecy, but it's not as sinister and evil as people would perceive it to be.
Okay. I have to give little Dave credit there.
Great.
We're fair and balanced here. It isn't as sinister and evil as shows like the Sons of Anarchy come out, right? We all covered that show because it was fun and it was fiction. So he's right. It's not as sinister as some people may believe or violent, but it is in certain aspects, and it does exist. But he's very, very correct there. So we'll give little Dave credit where it's due. That's how we roll here. Ain't that right, Lurch?
Word.
Mm-hmm. We're not just here to break down.
And that's the only reason I've opened up my home and my club to talk to the media, for that reason.
All right. So that's the end of that sound clip. We talked about a lot of stuff there, but you see what I mean about playing that? I just figured there's no way that we can try to break. I think it was better to just interrupt that interview in between and talk about that. But yeah, capitalize on a couple things. You saw he kept going when he didn't know where to go. He went back to the self-defense. I will tell you guys that's actually not completely true. There's people in prison that were convicted for murder that were not self-defense, and they're serving prison terms right now. So that's not completely true. Do I believe there are some self-defense? Sure. But again, when you're ready, we're like what's his name said earlier, if you're ready for death or prison, then you know what I mean? You might be in a position where you are more likely to have to use self-defense because you're kind of putting yourself in a particular situation. So anything else you want to say, Jakey or Matt, about that interview? Highlights?
No, I think it was good that we took the time to pause it and have discussion in there, so we hit all the points.
That worked well. Yeah, it's easier than trying to recap it, huh?
Agreed.
We'll put that on our notes there so we remember to do that again next time.
I need another Camel cigarette. That's all I'm saying. Before I go into court, by the way, a Camel cigarette.
Did he say his name was Joey Tribbiani?
My name is Tribbiani.
Joe Giuliani.
I don't know what his name is, dude. We could have fun with that.
It's a classic voice, though.
It is. All right, so we're almost done here, guys. We're moving through. You probably won't need to watch the episode after that. We pretty much broke it down. This is great. But this is the kind of episodes we like to do. This is great. I worked really hard on these notes. And I watched this episode several times so I could have some great thoughts and insight for you guys. Next, they go to a prospect's house. This is a brand new prospect. This is very interesting. Jake is just, look at, if you guys could see Jake, that's why this in 2016, I'm going to try to do some video of us podcasting. Because Jake is over there rolling his eyes, closing his eyelids, and shaking his head while I'm talking about this particular segment. And Jake, go, because I love your input on this stuff, dude.
It's like Lurch says with the nonverbals. I probably portray that. I'm a horrible liar.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the prospect who is he got basically told, from what I understand, that he had to talk to the media about this.
Prospect, guys, is a probationary member trying to become full member for those new listeners.
To sum it up, he said, I didn't really want to do this, but they told me I should. I just didn't want to do it because I don't want to screw this up. I'm afraid of saying something I'm not supposed to, basically. Is what he said.
Yeah, and he was a prospect just around 6 months, he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
And He's got 3 kids, and he almost made it sound like he was the sole caregiver.
He's a single father, yeah.
Single father for the kids, and then she goes to talk to him about what's going on. What makes you want to be part of this club or their family? I do anything for them. They are the most important thing in my life.
Did we hear that before? Is this a common theme? What else is he? Former Marine with 3 kids.
Right.
See? Former Marine, right? Military. Yeah. Looking for what? Doesn't have a wife. Raising 3 kids. True. Not in the military. What is this a common theme or what?
It is a very common theme. I guess the thing that disturbed me about it was he would do they are the most important thing to him, and he's got 3 kids. That is a warped sense of priority that somehow got in there. And I think that reasonable people would understand that. And I don't know. I mean, maybe we don't know if the wife's there. There might be some more into it, but that was kind of weird. The on-call, he's on call as well as a prospect. He had actually check in with his sergeant on the cell phone before he gave this interview, let him know what he was doing.
You're right. And he gave him a couple tasks. Right. I'm just saying, I'm going to say it because that's how I roll. I'm saying a lot of things in life, but there's a lot of insecurities going on right there. A lot of insecurities with this guy. Single father, out of the Marine, thank God. Thanks for serving. I'll tell him that right now. I'd say it to his face. Thanks for serving this country. I don't necessarily agree with his decision. He's got 3 kids. It's the most important thing. He's willing to leave his kids at the beck and call of a motorcycle club. A lot of things struck me wrong. But he's insecure. There's a lot of insecurities. He's looking for something in this life, right?
Yeah, and
is that fair?
Agreed. He was doing a good job of towing the company line, though, because she was trying to press him about how long are you going to have to be a prospect? When do you think you'll get patched in? He's like, when they think I'm ready. He just kept following that company line, which was
6 months is all he had to do.
Yeah,
we do longer than that. Seriously. Mm-hmm. I mean, we do minimum of 6 months. I mean, that's pretty quick. And they did that with a few guys. That was interesting to me that that's actually not that much time to me.
That makes me wonder if they're trying to build their numbers.
Right.
But this is a tactical thing from another discussion.
No, you're right. You're right. Because that's quick. We don't even do that.
Especially in a club like that where they're so worried about infiltration.
Yes. You're right. What else about that, Lurch? Any comments? He did check in with his sergeant on the cell phone at that point.
He did, yeah.
Said, I will sacrifice anything to become a member. They are familia. They said they're family. I just said familia because it sounds cool.
Yeah. She asked him, where did the passion for this club come from? And he says, it's the way they treat me. It's the way they embrace me. And everybody makes me feel loved.
See, what are they looking for?
Family.
It's insecurity.
He's looking for family. They're looking for...
He's looking for a security blanket. All the way from we're babies, we have a blanket, don't we?
Well, I mean,
I'm just saying, I'm not even being facetious.
Yeah,
exactly.
No. It's human nature. We all look for groups to belong to, and if you don't have,
we're no different than that. We're in the we're looking for brotherhood here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. They're looking for the same things. They're just looking in the wrong place.
Yeah, I don't.
In my opinion,
correct.
I don't fault them for what they're for that aspect of it because I do the same. We've done the same thing ever from clubs in school
right.
I was in a fraternity to even law enforcement. It's one of the things that drew me to that from teaching.
Yep.
And
it's just whether you choose the good or the bad, because there's plenty of good clubs to belong to and there's plenty of bad clubs. It's what you make. They all bring that security, and that brotherhood. That particular, we talked about it earlier, brings what they consider a little excitement to their life. They're rather single father, 3 kid, boring life, motorcycles, club, and we're 1%ers, and the law looks at us and we have a stigma. They believe they have a stigma. They probably still do to a lot of people. This was interesting. So next they took Lisa Ling, finally rounded up all the wives, a few of the wives.
Yeah, they sat down at a restaurant or something.
At a restaurant to chat. And I didn't get a lot out of this. Those women obviously were told very carefully what they could and couldn't say. And you could tell Lisa didn't really like them being labeled as property of, because they were the property of. She talked to him a little bit. They're all like, basically that whole little segment, just those women just blew it off. We don't ask certain questions and we know better, and it's really none of our business anyways. They're just that's just their club, and we know where we stand, and we know how to interact with it. All things that should send flags to most women, yeah, and whether you're a feminist or not, whatever. I'm not going to get a whole bunch into that, but that whole segment was kind of humorous to me because they didn't say one bad thing. And I have to believe, obviously, they were counseled before they went in front of Lisa Ling and what to say. What did you say, Jake?
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was pretty humorous. They were kind of like, what, we're proud of it. And Lisa would kind of question it on the end, but every time she'd ask a question, she'd end it with like a giggle to like not be offensive.
Right.
How can you be labeled as property?
Right.
It was almost like they were looking at her like, just say one more thing, bitch, and it's going to be on.
That's insightful, Jake. She did act differently with the men that she was interviewing.
Yes.
Much more to the point, direct questions. And with them, she took a softer route and, like I said, added the giggles and tried to be one of the women.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good call. Mm-hmm. And we're wrapping up here, guys. And then they go apparently on this big national run of theirs. And they go from LA to Palm Springs. It's about a 2-hour ride. That's a lunch ride for us. But apparently that's their big ride, is 2 hours. And this whole segment was nothing but money and drones and aerial shots. And her, apparently she got to ride with one of the guys.
With his VP.
Santos.
With his VP. Huh?
Santos.
Very good. Is that in my show notes? Is that where you got that?
That's from Jake's
just remember
mind.
him being there. Well, I rode with Santos.
Yeah, so that's their big ride apparently. And like I say, this was just all as close as you get to Hollywood from CNN. It was made to look cool, and it does look cool from aerial shots. Cool. I'm not going to lie. Big run, big group of motorcycles. Couple things I want to note on this particular deal, but they got a big talk from little Dave before leaving.
And he says, talk.
A little safety briefing. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Make sure your brakes and tires are good. No, he says, be careful. There's other idiots out there. Those other idiots are out there. Of course, he's referring to the HAs. That was clear. If someone breaks down, he wanted at least 5 guys to stay with them. If that's the kind of stuff you have to worry about, you might belong to a criminal organization, just FYI.
Or you're in a combat zone in war.
Right. Again, prisoner death, but we just want to ride motorcycles. We're just motorcycle enthusiasts, but make sure there's 5 with you at all times. So this is funny though, from their perspective. And this is Lisa Ling's ignorance a little bit, but the police jump in, you can see, and again, she does allude to this as part of their excitement. This is what these guys like. It's attention. They like the attention from law enforcement. They absolutely like it. They feel important. It's their level in this world of being important. And if they can get some attention that more normal people don't get, well, they do. Well, a couple police officers, they show one guy getting pulled over. A motor's cop, I believe, pulls him over. Mm-hmm. And this is the ignorant statement.
And based on editing, we don't even know what part of that was the run it was.
That's
was
what
I mean. The beginning was the end, was the middle.
Yes.
And it was kind of interesting the way that was cut in there.
That's the problem with editing. And we know you can edit the shit out of stuff, both audio and video, and you really don't know what the context was. Hell, that could have been used from a year ago from CNN report. You know what I mean? News does that all the time. But anyway, she says, this is what caught me. She's talking about, and the police, it seems to be kind of excitement for the guys, and it seems to be part of the adrenaline, and the police are stopping a few bikes here and there, and it seems, here's her quote, it seems completely random. To her, it may. Let me submit to you that it's not random, because here in the United States, police don't make random stops. You have to have probable cause, FYI, to stop a car, which means there's some sort of violation. We don't know. That could be anything from equipment to license plate tabs expired to a bald tire to illegal ape hangers to a missing mirror to a light violation, a helmet violation. I mean, there can be 1,000 things. And I submit that it was not random, although she said it seems to be completely random. And that's the ignorance of a lot of people. How does she know? She's on a bike. She's riding 2 up with the VP. She sees people being pulled over. She has no idea. You know what I mean? Anything else?
She clearly didn't get pulled over, or that would have made it on
right
on the show.
Right. So I guess my point being, it's not random. That's what a typical person says. It just seems completely random that they're just stopping people. Well, it's not random. And again, as Lurch alluded to, we don't know at what point and what context that particular stop was in. And she says, then she says, they check their license and sends them on their way. Okay. How does she know that? Okay. Because when they got stopped, she was still doing 80, 2 up on a motorcycle, and they were like 10 minutes behind her. So how does she know they checked their license and they're on their way? You know what I mean?
Right.
They could have been arrested. I don't know. But just some of the ignorant statements that typical reporters make, they just seems to check their license and on their way. Okay. He didn't even get before he was out of sight. He wasn't even out of his patrol car. Lisa, you were long gone. How do you know?
Unless she stopped, she was 10 or 20 miles down the road before he left.
Right.
If he did that, if he did something else, it was farther.
Right. Exactly. So just those are the little things I pick up on when I'm watching this episode. She doesn't know, obviously. And of course, they end the episode. They all rent a hotel when they go on this run. And, this was interesting because I don't know if you remember this part, but they interviewed the hotel owner.
Yeah, he said, I love these guys.
Right. And I believe him.
Yeah.
They got money, right?
Yeah. They rent the whole hotel for a weekend.
Right. They own it exclusively. They probably pay him extra so no other occupants can come in the hotel.
Probably, they're buying booze, and he's making a lot of money.
They're swimming. They're not burning the place down.
No.
He's making a buttload of money. Plus,
and they probably do police themselves because they don't want real police intervention.
I agree. And why would he say anything bad anyways around all those, bikers? He's like, no, it's good. It's all good, man. It's all good. They pay their bills. And I believe it. And I believe for the most part, they're just having fun. I don't think there's a ton of bad crap going on there. So again, we're being fair here. But that's where it goes in. And then that's when that guy and a couple others get patched in or something, right? Yay. And the beer flies and we pour beer on each other and all that good stuff. Yay. But all right. Anything else on that, guys, before I start taking it out here? Anything?
Nope. I think we
Bueller. All right.
Bueller.
We don't have much to say about the patching in ceremony. Let's listen to this little sound clip. This was interesting.
Our time with the Mongols is coming to a close, and I feel like I'm just beginning to scratch the surface. I can only draw conclusions from what I've been allowed to see.
You hear that?
Yep.
What'd she say?
They didn't tell me shit.
Did you hear that, Jake?
Yep.
I can only draw conclusions from what they allowed me to see. That was actually a great statement.
It's very telling.
Because I think she realizes I'm just scratching the surface and these fuckers didn't show me anything. That's her nice way of saying.
But then she contradicts herself. Anyway, let's listen to the rest of it.
We'll rewind it a little bit. I don't know exactly where we're at.
And I feel like I'm just beginning to scratch the surface. I can only draw conclusions from what I've been allowed to see. This brotherhood is like a fraternity, a unique kind of family for its members. There's no doubt they have each other's backs no matter what. And as for the rest, let's be clear, there are Mongols who have committed crimes. There may be Mongols who are still committing crimes. And they may engage in some secretive rituals that could be perceived by the public as being unsavory. But that doesn't mean that as an organization, they are criminals.
All right. Interesting. That was a good conclusion she did, I think. She knew she had only been allowed to see certain things. Remember, she wasn't let in there when they were at that hotel. She wasn't let in their meeting. That's a problem. If I invited the media in, I would let them sit in on a meeting. I mean, what are you talking about? Clubs and donations and charities, right?
Right.
I mean, there's a problem when you don't let a reporter in your meeting. So, again, allowed, she can draw her conclusions based on allowed what she's been allowed to see. So, Jake, you're shaking your head, you're twitching, you're playing with yourself over there.
Playing with myself, yeah.
I don't care.
Ouch, that was a little hot.
Was that hot? That's because I have this up loud because we were playing that little soundbite.
I don't care.
Speak, Jake, speak.
I guess for me it was, I do think it was a really good conclusion. I'm not so sure I liked her final statement, but I think that it's an accurate thing. They're not all bad. I'm the first to admit it. Like you, but you were saying letting the media into a meeting. I've I've been involved in a couple organizations where, and it's, I'm not necessarily in one now where unless you're a member, you would not see a meeting, period.
Right.
And so I kind of understand that. I'm not like condoning it, but
right. No, that's cool.
In my fraternity,
be fair.
Fraternity, I know for a lot of people who haven't been in, it can be a dumb thing.
But if you invite them,
when you're in it, you are all the way in it.
Right.
And we wouldn't dream of somebody being not a member being in that meeting. It wouldn't cross our minds.
You're going to have to boost his audio a lot, Matt.
Sorry.
He's talking
pulling away.
Yeah, he's pulling side. That's okay.
That's my fault.
There you go.
Got to get up there and hog that microphone.
That's right. Own it.
Pretend like you like it.
Own it. Own the microphone.
The problem is with this whole thing is that they've made it look as if they're opening up their organization. We want everybody to know what we're about. But then they don't allow her to go into meetings. They show the doors closing. They don't answer questions. He sidesteps too much stuff. And it, like I said earlier, just leaves us to assume the worst because people are naturally going to assume the worst. So if he's asked a question, he doesn't answer it, then people are going to go, okay, he's hiding something. So in my opinion, I think this actually did more damage to the reputation than it did improve it.
I agree.
Well said, Lurch.
And
FYI,
if they're trying to go a new route and become law-abiding bikers, God bless them. I hope.
Yeah.
I wish them good luck.
And see, that's what they're not. We're still going to be 1%ers. We're just not.
They're coming our way. I hope all this is true.
We're not bad 1%ers. And if you're going to do a media blitz, you might want to not schedule a meeting during the media blitz if you're going to not let the media go in. FYI, as a PR guy, you might want to just go, no, come along, and then behind the scenes go, we're not going to hold a meeting, because then we'd have to refuse them and then it would look suspicious, right?
Yeah.
That was just stupid.
If you're going to open your organization, you got to open it up. You got to be 100% clear and transparent.
I like it. It was great having you guys in the studio. Great discussion. And again, the reason we covered that, guys, is because we got a lot of requests for it, and that's why we covered it. And everybody's got a different flavor and different taste, but we try to cover it all here at Law Abiding Biker Podcast in Media, guys. All right, call to action, guys. Don't forget to get hooked up with our official app, guys. There it is. You want to let them know how to do that there, Lurch?
Well, you can get our Law Abiding Biker Podcast app for free. That's right. It doesn't cost you anything because we have patrons out there that support us and keep that app up and running. You can go to the App Store. You can go to Google Play for Androids if that's your thing. You can go to Amazon Kindle App Store. It's all over the place. Or simply go to lawabidingbiker.com/app. App.
Free. That's right. Free, guys. And it's the best way to get all our episodes, because like if you go to iTunes and stuff, it's sometimes they only show you the last 50. So if you want to back catalog and stuff, just go get the free app. It's available for all the different platforms, guys. Boy, my mouth's dry. That was a long episode. A lot of talking. Wish you guys could have did some more talking. FYI, you made me talk a lot.
You're the host, man. You're supposed to talk more than us.
I guess
we're the comic relief.
I felt like I talked too much.
No, you didn't, dude. You can talk. You did great, though. You can talk as much as you want, man. Really appreciate it, guys, and I hope it was informational. We hope it was entertaining. We hope it was
infotaining.
Mm-hmm. Rock out with your cock out. No? All right. Peace out.
Do your thing. Whatever.